The reality of navigating the negative, the unhelpful negative thoughts that are going on with dyslexia is you need to kind of have a conscious conversation with your brain to be kind of like, I'm not doing this anymore. This doesn't work. This doesn't help. This doesn't actually get me where I want to be. If when you're having that surge of stress, if you can kind of identify what it is that the kind of the next stage of that sentence, like, if I'm not productive, then people will think I'm lazy again. Or if I'm not productive, I'm not going to be able to achieve my goals, or whatever it is. It gives you the ammunition to have the conversation with your brain to be like, no, this is not helpful, because the stress, the anxiety, the negative conversations, the pressure we put on ourselves is the bottom of the list of things that actually helps, that actually create change. Like, when you think about all the things we say in all the presentations, they're always like, acknowledge what's going on, accept the reality, try and build in helpful systems, don't get too stressed by things. And so when you're heaping shame on top of a challenge, and that's not really what helps. So often what I have to do for myself, and I always am recommending to people, is say, hating myself doesn't help. And when I'm having that conversation with myself, like in my head, like the negative thoughts are like hitting me like a tidal wave, and I'm like, hating myself doesn't help, hating myself doesn't help, hating myself doesn't help. It helps you to kind of like acknowledge what actually is going on. If you're like, hating myself doesn't help me move my business forward, hating myself doesn't help me be a good friend and show up for people. What helps is acknowledging the reality, speaking to people, kind of trying to build in good systems. And so yeah, that was kind of where the root of my question came from, and maybe that might kind of spark something. But for me, it's about acknowledging that the shame and the hate and the frustration is the bottom of the list of things that is going to actually create success. And the stress and the pressure is coming from because you want to achieve something. There's something that you really desperately want. And mine is I just want people to think I'm smart. People thought I was thick for my entire life, and I just desperately, for once in my life, would love people to be like, okay, now she's got it together. And hating myself is not going to help me achieve that. And so that to me is how I kind of have that conversation with myself. I hope that helps. But Katie, do you have any advice? Because that was my kind of thought processes.
Partner also constantly reminds me of this exercise as well. And it's to drill down the why. So why am I feeling anxious is usually where I start, because I'm a naturally anxious person. So why am I feeling anxious? Oh, I'm feeling anxious because I have a lot to do. Why do I have a lot to do? I have a lot to do because I chose to do these 10 things today. Well, why did I make the choice? Well, because I wanted to feel busy. Well, why did I want to feel busy? Because I gather self-worth. Like, drilling down on your why can be huge, because it doesn't allow you to make the excuse of like, well, I think you said earlier, I need to be productive, right? I don't have time to sit down and work backwards. Why? Drilling down on the why allows you to, again, start that honest conversation with yourself of where you are and where you need to go, and what the cause is, because everything comes from something. Nothing is new or original. So somebody said they're an anxious traveler. Why are you an anxious traveler? Well, because I'm afraid I'll miss my flight. Why are you afraid you'll miss your flight? Because I've done it in the past. Well, why is that a big deal? Well, because I spent money on this and it's a lot of hassle to rebook it. Why isn't it a big deal? So drilling down, why is the question that we want to constantly be asking ourselves. And that's for all aspects of life, not just the dyslexic aspects. So that would be like my advice, is just drill down on why.